Okay, we're going to walk through an introduction to Autodesk Inventor, and we're also going to talk about the basics of creating a rectangular prism or a rectangular block. So the first thing is, this is the window you should see when you get to Inventor. Down here at the bottom, you'll see recent files. Now, the recent files you see on my screen, you probably have an empty space here because you have no recent files. The rectangular block that we're going to model today is for the dragsters that we're building in class. Now, the dimensions that you had when you sketched these on paper were in inches. So the first thing we need to do is start a new project or a new file in inches. We're going to go up here to the corner of the screen, select New. Then, when this screen here opens up, there's several types of files we can create. We're creating a part. It's a standard.ipt. We're going to hit Create. You'll notice that Inventor takes a bit to load. Just be patient with it. If you see this error show up, you can click OK. And anytime you see this arrow show up, please just click OK. Okay, we are still waiting here for this to load. If you are watching this video, you are welcome to scroll ahead until this load screen disappears and we get into the main Inventor drawing environment. Okay, here we are inside the Inventor environment. Up here at the top of the screen, there's a toolbar on it. Across the top, I'm going to be referring to that as the ribbon toolbar. On the ribbon there are tabs, and each section of the ribbon, if you notice, is kind of blocked off, and I'm going to call that panels. For example, we have the sketch panel, create panel, the modify, explore, work features, pattern, create freeform surface, and convert panels. On the left of the screen we have our browser. And the browser is going to keep track of the things we do in order, sketches, and three-dimensional changes that we make based on those sketches. It'll allow us to go back and change or improve them later. Okay, the first step to creating a rectangular block is a two-dimensional sketch. We're going to select this button right here, 2D Sketch, and you'll notice that when you hover over top of a button, a little screen pops up telling you about what that tool does and sometimes shows you how to use it. When you click 2D Sketch, this will show up. There are three work planes. If you think of three-dimensional space, you have an XY plane, you have a YZ plane, and you have an XZ plane. These three work planes allow us to move in three-dimensional space. Over here on the right, you have a view cube. If you click and hold your mouse down and rotate that, you'll notice that they're rotating the planes as well. Next to the view cube, you have a home button, which will reset your orientation of these different surfaces. And if you look at this, you'll notice it says front, top, and right side. Okay, we're going to be sketching on the XY plane. Clicking that plane opens up a new set of tools in our ribbon. We have what is our sketching toolbar. You'll notice that over here, the tab for sketch has been opened and highlighted for us. We're going to sketch a rectangle. Now, in class, we should have gone over how to use a line and the constraint panel and different options here to force a set of lines into a rectangle. For your model, you can start with just a rectangle. Okay, that's a rectangle. Now I'm going to undo that for a second and talk real quick about tools in Inventor. When we're using sketching tools in Inventor, you're going to sketch in Inventor the way you would graph on a piece of paper. If you're creating a line or a rectangle, you're going to select the start point, and then you're going to release your mouse button. At this point, your mouse is floating, and then you're going to go to the opposite corner or opposite end and click again. Just like on a piece of graph paper where you might create a rectangle, you would first draw the points and then connect to the corners, or a line, you might draw one point and then the second. Be careful not to hold the button down while you do this. Okay, getting rid of that line. The next step to our rectangle is to give it dimensions. The length of our dragster is going to be 6.5 inches. Now, to get that 6.5 inches, we're going to select this dimension tool, which is in the middle of our sketching ribbon. We'll then click the bottom line of our rectangle, move downwards, and these dimension lines will show up. These black lines show that the dimension of 1.8 points to the ends of the rectangle. We're going to change that dimension to our 6.5 inches of our dragster. When we change it and hit enter, we'll notice that things change on our screen. The rectangle has gotten much bigger. To see it, we're going to come over here and use our zoom all, which will zoom out and show us the entire rectangle. I'm going to use the scroll wheel to zoom out even farther. Now we'll use the dimension tool to select the side of the rectangle, move to the right, and enter our height. Now, based on the sketches that you did of your cars, our height is intended to be 1.5 inches tall. Now, we have the rectangle, which represents the side of our vehicle. It is 6.5 by 1.5. At this point, we've finished everything that we can do in the sketching view. We're creating just the rectangular prism that will make up the block of our dragster later on. Over here in the right-hand corner of our ribbon, we have Finish Sketch. When we click Finish Sketch, you'll notice several things happen. First of all, our sketch rotates and is shown by our view cube has now rotated to a three-dimensional angle. We've switched back from the sketching toolbar to our 3D model toolbar. Over here, we're going to select again the zoom all. That's going to bring our sketch back here. Holding and rotating the view cube real quick will show us that our sketch has simply rotated. It is still a rectangle, but it's rotated to this corner or isometric orientation. And we can now give it some thickness. On our 3D model toolbar, there's an extrude button. Extrude takes a shape or a sketch and adds depth, or it can even be used to cut away. We'll use the cut away option later in our project. Selecting extrude brings up our extrude tools, and it also auto selects our block. Now these extrude tools are going to show up in two places. There'll be this box which you can move around and it has all the options, and then down here there's sort of a compact set of tools that will open up as well. For this stage, our profile has already been selected for us. We're getting a preview of that. Our distance, which needs to be 1 inch, has already been entered to the default of 1 inch. We're just going to enter that to verify it. We'll click OK. At this point, we've completed the basic block. This represents the green foam block that we'll be cutting our dragsters out of. Last and possibly most important step is, of course, to save your work. We're going to go here and click on the File button. We'll select Save As. When we click on Save As, you are looking for the area inside this box that has both your last name and it also has this green network icon. This is where you're going to want to save it. Be careful using this button. This may only take you to local files on your desktop. You want to use your network location. Alright, clicking here, this is our dragster body. So we're going to type in dragster body. Check our location. It's saved here. Save. Of course, anytime you see this, click OK to finish. Okay, that completes the modeling of the dragster. We'll continue later with another video talking about how to create the profile of the shape of your dragster.